this year. It's like, where are our NBA stars that like will say, "Hey, I got skills, I got hops. Let me put on a show." Like it's just seemingly guys want to use the All Star break as either a way to just like get right, get healthy for the season, which I don't have any problem with, or just like be on their phones and like record the festivities. Like they don't want to participate. The new Feast or Fumble podcast. I'm the real Chris Mack here with a couple of my nearest and dearest. We got Mr. Chino and Mr. Patty Puts over here. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing great. Let's get into these topics. The best of the best in the NBA, all in Indianapolis this weekend. And we got day one of the NBA All-Star Weekend. Leading us off with the Skills Challenge. What are you guys' thoughts of what we saw so far? Sean, I'm gonna go to you first because I think Pat has a lot to say on the topic. So.
Well, I'll just say this. I'm not a huge fan of All-Star Weekend anymore. Like, I rarely catch myself watching it anymore because it's not entertaining for me. I'm used to what it was. Like, now it just feels like a joke. But I will say that if I was a betting man, which I was yesterday, I bet on the Pacers to win the Skills Challenge. So, home team. Was the route I went because it seems like what the trend is. So, I'm not a big fan of it. I know Anthony Edwards said, basically he was going to do it left-handed the entire evening, which he says he's going to do it for the All-Star game tonight too, and also do it in a game if they're up like 40 in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, I think they're not like. The players are not taking it serious, so it just doesn't make it entertaining anymore. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, I remember when like Kobe and Jordan and all these primetime players were doing All-Star Weekend and making it entertaining because they knew. And Kobe used to say it too. He's like fans pay a lot of money to come see you all do this thing over here. I'm gonna put on a show, right? So I know we've been talking about it lately about like the load management and things of that nature where fans pay a lot of money to see certain players play, and it's frustrating as a fan to not be able to see that player play. So you think of All-Star Weekend where it's entertainment, so like fans come out to pay to see you play and do crazy things, not take it as a joke. So not a big fan of it, but I did have the Pacers team winning. In a bet I had, so yeah. Pat, what's your thoughts?
Here we go. The floor is yours.
So I was extremely unhappy with what I saw yesterday. Sean, you touched on it. Edwards coming out and saying he's going to do everything lefty. Why is this such a big joke to them? I understand they're trying to show their personality, they're trying to be funny, but why is it such a big joke? There's a lot of the best players in the NBA that are sitting home watching you make a mockery of this entire weekend. Who wouldn't want to see De'Aaron Fox run around that skills challenge and maybe set a record or something like that? Or, DeMar DeRozan, excuse me, he's an aging star who, how many more All-Star appearances does he really have? I just think it kind of stinks for the players that didn't get that opportunity. And Edwards and Barnes, if you guys aren't going to take it seriously, then play the snubs. Go do the skills contest against the snubs, and the winner of that skills contest gets into the All-Star game. Because I guarantee you, those guys are going to take it seriously because it means a lot to them. It's the biggest stage for the NBA. There are no other games going on, so this is a stage for people to showcase their talents. Allow people to do that. Don't just, shoot the basketball backwards or, shoot everything lefty. I think that's a really, really poor attitude. And like Sean said, I'm not the biggest fan of NBA All-Star break. I think it's kind of broken. back in the 90s, early 2000s, this was a night that I looked forward to. And last night, to be honest with you, I was trying to find something else to watch. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your sentiments. It's like, used to get up for like the dunk contest, used to get up to see like, guys that got voted in as all-stars. Is like, yo, these are like the best of the best, cream of the crop in the NBA, and they're all getting together. It's like, the Avengers assembling together, like all the superheroes all getting together. Now it's just kind of like, all right, we're gonna just find whatever social media personality is around and popular, and we're gonna like, guys are trying to like build their brands and like show that they can, have conversations like off mic and stuff like that. It's like, come on, man. Like, we're gonna talk about it in a minute, but like even the dunk contest, like we got G League players competing in the dunk contest, whereas like we used to have like the cream of the crop in the NBA participate in all of these skill challenges. I mean, I'd arguably say that like the 3-point competition is still like somewhat relevant, only because like so many guys are like 3-point shooters now, so that kind of gets you like a little bit hyped. But overall, I agree with both of you guys. It's kind of a disappointment, and I'm usually looking for something else to watch. So, speaking of which, we will move to one of the highlight events during All-Star Weekend, the 3-point contest. Some star-studded. It seems like that's where we actually got like a lot of the All-Star caliber players is playing in the 3-point contest. Pat, what did you think of the contest overall, and especially our man Jalen Brunson being in the 3-point contest?
Well, I did love that Jalen Brunson got the honor to at least participate. Sean mentioned that he took the home crowd for the skills contest. I took my homeboy for the 3-point contest, and unfortunately he did not win.
Right.
I'm not that surprised that Dame Lillard won, Dame time. If I had a squad, he's taking my last shot of the game probably 90% of the time. I think last week he had a pretty tough turnover late in the game versus the Grizzlies. And I think the Bucks are kind of going through a lot over there. But even regardless of that, he's still carrying the ball up and taking that last shot for me the majority of the time. That's one thing I quickly wanted to mention about the Bucks that I'm a little concerned. So Dame carrying the ball up to shoot the last shot. I would have loved to have seen a better point guard next to him rather than, let's say, Pat Beverly, so that someone else could carry the ball up, dish it to him, and then he could be in the perfect position for his final shot. But like you said, I think the 3-point contest has become the most popular contest and really the draw for the entire weekend. I mean, they turned it into a different contest with Sabrina and Steph. So it was pretty cool to watch that. But again, I think the NBA has some work to do on their All-Star weekend. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I think out of all the events, I was a fan of the 3-point contest because I think a lot more of the 3-point specialists participated, where in the other categories it's like it's a joke, right? Nice way to put it, but I had Dame winning it all. I like that Jalen Brunson was in it. I like that Trae Young, even the big man, Cat was in there. Even though I don't know if anybody noticed, there was like periods of time where he was actually stepping on the line where it shouldn't have counted. I was like, wait, hold up. But then I noticed that the ref was like pointing out that like those don't count. But it was funny to see. I like the competition. I like how they had it. I like how they had the starry range where you had to shoot the one ball from deep. But Dame time, like I put money on Dame. Repeat winner. I think he's one of like 6 people to repeat or something like that. Because it was like Jason Capono, Larry Bird. I think it was like Pagin went back to back one time too.
Didn't Steph go back to back? I think.
I don't know. We might have to use a Google machine for that. But there wasn't a lot of people that have done it that have gone back to back. So it was good to see that. It was good to see him come out on top. Dame time, man. I think to your point, like what you said, like if it's late in the game, he's one of the few people that I would say, no no matter what. When we're drawing up a play, that he's taking the last shot. I don't care who's guarding him. So, this was probably the only bright spot for me out of the entire evening. So yeah, I liked it all. I do love the fact that they did the whole side 3-point contest between Steph and the other player. I can't remember, drawing a blank with her name. I apologize. But I also had Steph winning that. But I think it's good because if Steph was in this contest, I don't know if Dame goes back to back, to be honest with you.
No.
So I think that's Steph humbly taking like a backseat and saying, "Hey, I'll let y'all rock over here, and I won't take advantage." So yeah, I was a big fan of it. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, this was the highlight for me. Totally agree with you guys. There was a lot. I think it says a lot about the NBA that like so many guys are like very talented 3-point shooters, because I think like the high was 26 and you had like 4-5 guys like all hit 26 3-pointers, which like that's like unheard of. That's a lot. So the skill level of the shooting in the league is definitely at an all-time high. Yeah, a little sad Jalen didn't make it. I think if he would have hit 26 instead of 24, he would have been in it. But yeah, I like the talent pool. I think Trey was hot. I think Cat, even though he did have like a couple that were on his toes, were on the line. He was shooting it real well. But yeah, when it comes, like you said, Pat, clutch time, 3-point shot, I mean, it's either Mr. Curry or Dame time for me, that I want that last shot being taken. Also, the competition between Steph and Sabrina, I was surprised that she hit 26 too. So I mean, seemingly that was like the number of the night, getting 26 points. But Steph's just showing like, yeah, you guys, you can have your 3-point contest. I'm still the GOAT when it comes to shooting this thing. So I like they gave him his little time to shine, where he was like, gets to show off his skills and still show that he's the greatest shooter alive.
Hey, and I apologize, Sabrina. Hey, Sabrina. I'm drawing a blank here. I'm drawing a blank. But, yes, to your point, Sabrina killed it. She had 26, which that's what Dame won with. So I think it, first thing that came to mind when I, finished watching both events was shooters are going to shoot. And I love what she had said in the post-game interview about, it tells those young kids out there, boys, girls, that you can shoot. So anything's possible. And it's funny because I was having this little talk with my son yesterday about we were shooting the ball in a little basket, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not as big as you, or I'm not as strong as you, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "It doesn't matter, as long as you're good at one thing, that's all that matters, and we just gotta practice at it." So yeah, I think if you're gonna be a good shooter and you're not as tall as everybody else, or you can't dunk the basketball, like, be good at shooting. That's what will make you successful. So love to see it. Like I said, this was the highlight for the night for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we move on to the other big event of the night, which is the slam dunk contest. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me, this event has definitely taken a downturn over the last, I don't know how many years. It's really, yeah, exactly. Sean from Sean, I don't know if you saw it or not, but like, what were your thoughts, if any, on the slam dunk contest? You're on mute, buddy.
Listen here, these guys are out here doing, like, they're getting 50s for dunks that I just don't. It's like they're doing the same dunks over again with like different variations, and they're getting 50s for it. Where, back in the day, you saw like crazy dunks from Vince Carter, Steve Francis, Tracy McGrady, like all these old school players in the early 2000s, and then even in the 90s. Like, I feel like it's getting stale. Like, they're running out of things to do. Like, granted, I like that. I did like that McClung at the end. like he jumped over Shaq. Like Shaq's tall as hell. He completely jumped over Shaq, and his head was almost touching the rim. So, yeah, I like that piece of it, but like, man, it's getting real stale, and like, I don't get it because they're giving out these high scores for dunks that just don't wow me. Like, it's not entertaining. So like, before McClung had his final dunk, Jaylen Brown. And I don't know if it's because of the narrative. He put on a glove on his left hand because people say he can't go to his left or doesn't have a left hand. Basically, jumped over Spider and dunked it with his left hand. Didn't do anything crazy. Didn't do like between the legs. Just dunked it with his left hand, and he almost got a 50. Like, what are we talking about here? It's just stale. It's not entertaining. Like, come on. Like, I don't get it. Not a big fan of it. I was going back and forth watching it. It's not entertaining for me. Sad. Sorry. Pat, your thoughts?
Yeah, again, I'm just super disappointed in the whole weekend. Chris, you said it, like G League players coming in and doing the dunk contest. It used to be the best in the NBA. It was an actual show. This just isn't the same show. It's completely lacking creativity, just like you said, Sean. It's the same stuff over and over again. It's who can bring in the biggest celebrity and do a dunk with them rather than trying to figure out a new creative dunk that nobody's ever done before. Mac McClung, very, very impressive. He's only 6'2", 185, and that's what he's listed at. He might be smaller than that, and he's dunking over Shaq. So that's extremely impressive, and maybe that dunk deserved the 50, but the scores that we're getting are they're just not worthy, in my opinion. It's nice to see that Jacob Toppin from the Knicks is in the dunk contest, but I didn't care enough to even tune in because I don't know who Jacob Toppin is because he's a G Leaguer. Again, just I wish that more of the stars would participate in these things. If we could get snubs that want to be in the All-Star game in the dunk contest and have them compete for that, I'd be all for that. But yeah, I did not tune in last night. I saw the recap, and McClung looked excellent dunking over Shaq. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely got all the sentiments out that I have. This event, it used to be like rarefied like air to say like, oh, this person's in the dunk contest, and you were like, oh shit, it's about to be a battle. Even we go back to like, probably the greatest dunk contest of all time, the 2000 dunk contest, where it was like Vince and Tracy and Steve, and they basically put on a show with like Vince just like outclassing everybody. And you've gotten a couple, of guys that have really showed out on the dunk contest. Recently to mind, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon. Even Spider Mitchell had a pretty good dunk contest. John Wall was really good in his dunk contest. But now it's like, it's seemingly that like all the creativity is like within the G League, which is like crazy to say. Like the last like couple of dunk contests I can remember, Mac McClung being a perfect example. Like he shut it down last year, had probably the best dunk contest performance I've seen in years, and he did it again this year. It's like where are our NBA stars that like will say, hey, I got skills, I got hops, let me put on a show. Like, it's just seemingly guys want to use the All-Star break as either a way to just like get healthy for the season, which I don't have any problem with, or just like, be on their phones and like record the festivities. Like they don't want to participate, and I think that's a issue that the NBA is going to have to find a way to address, because it, like, as a event as a whole, it's just very lacking. Like very lacking. It's almost become as laughable as the Pro Bowl in football, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, before we move on, Jaylen Brown, borderline superstar in the NBA. Rather than, trying to do something very creative and cool that nobody's ever done before, he's using it as a stage to what? Say, haters, I got a left hand? That's so silly. Just throw it down in their face, I just don't get it.
Hey, he is. Somebody was talking about it on the cast about his contract and what his expectations are supposed to be. Like, dude, you got paid all this money, like you're a superstar. Granted, yeah, we want superstars like we've been talking about to participate in these events. All right, show how. Do some crazy stuff. Like, that's what we need. Like, to your point, Pat, you had mentioned, like, we need, like, these superstars or folks that aren't getting the opportunity because they didn't make the All-Star team to participate in these events. Like, to be honest with you, LeBron, like, just do it one time. Do it one time. You're not gonna do it.
No, he's not. He's not gonna do it.
But like, that's what we need. We need like those marquee, like top players to participate in this event.
And listen,
You know,
I give
pay
Jalen
all this money.
I give Jalen a lot of credit because he like basically when they did the lineups, it was like a bunch of nobodies and Jalen Brown. So it was like, yes, you are the biggest name like in this event. You know, you did kind of like
lost.
yeah, and you lost to a G leaguer. Like, come on. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be like the cream of the crop in the NBA, and you lose to a guy that's like barely 6 foot. You know. So I don't know. But moving on to tonight's festivities, the big game, the All-Star game. Who do we like? Do we think the East is over the West? Like, who are we looking forward to see? You know, any particular bets we're going to be placing on who gets what tonight? Let's talk about it. Pat, what do you think about the All-Star game tonight?
So I'm much more excited about the All-Star game than I was about the actual festivities. And looking at the rosters, I think they're stacked. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I think we're going to see a lot of fireworks. But I think the Western Conference is a little too stacked for the Eastern Conference. Just looking at size, matchups, the starting lineups in particular, between Luka and Joker, they're two of the most special passers on the planet, especially given their size. And SGA is a 30-point per game machine. And we haven't even talked about Kevin Durant yet. So I just think the West is so tough. And I think that their size is going to create too many mismatches for the other way. And the passing is going to create a lot of wide open buckets for, LeBron and Steph and all those other really, really talented scorers. My pick for MVP, I'm going to throw probably $10 on it because they're long odds. The Joker, of course. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I look forward to watching this game tonight. I think that both teams are pretty decent. I would agree in the sense that the Western Conference is definitely stacked. You're just look at your starting lineup. You got LeBron, Luka, Kevin Durant, Joker, and SGA. Like, that's stacked, and you have Steph Curry on the bench. Come on, what are we talking about here? Eastern Conference is pretty decent as well. They just replaced they replaced Embiid with Bam, which is not bad. But yeah, I think that if you look at the West versus the East, definitely stacked, and also just younger players on the East side. So I'd probably lean towards, if I was a betting man, I would lean towards the Western Conference winning this matchup. I think MVP, I'm going to go in a different direction. I think Luka goes off. I think Luka takes like 10 threes from half court and has like 15 assists. He's going to have a triple-double. Luka's going to have a triple-double.
Okay.
Book it. Book it right now.
Book it right now.
Just go look up what the odds are. Luka's going to have a triple-double, a quiet one too, because he's not going to, he don't talk smack like that, like openly. Like, I've heard players say he talks smack on the court, but he's not going to talk smack. He's going to drop a quiet triple-double in an All-Star game. West is going to win by 40, and it's going to be an entertaining night. That's what I got.
Nice. Yeah, I think, to your guys' point, the West definitely seems to have like more firepower. But I don't know. The East looks like they got younger, fresher legs, so they might be able to to do a little damage. I know they're doing the same rule set of like quarter by quarter, with like the fourth quarter being like collective of all the quarters. So yeah, fourth quarter is going to be basically a shootout. My money for MVP, we brought him up, Mr. Stephen Curry. Maybe getting a little snubbed as like not being a starter in the All-Star game. And then for whatever reason, whenever you get like Steph Curry and Trae Young like competing against each other, you get like Trae Young trying to do his best Steph Curry impression, like just shooting. Like there's going to be many half-court shots taken in this game, without a doubt. But I mean, I'm gonna lean on the GOAT a little bit and be like, yo, Steph is gonna put on a show. Especially like they're gonna put him in like middle of the game, like second, third quarter, and he's just gonna have like 30 points by fourth. And they're like, all right, Steph, just cook, just cook, do what you do. So yeah, my money is on Steph as MVP of the All-Star game. Cool and the game. I like it.
I actually like that pick. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna change mine.
No. Listen, I like your Luka take. I think Luka definitely has the potential to put on a show. Plus, there's like a little talk around him too. Is like, people are we're getting to that point with Luka where you kind of got to question like, okay, are you gonna win, or are we just like, is this like kind of like where your ceiling is at? All right, moving right along. We're going to go to your guys' favorite topic. Baseball season is right around the corner. Spring training set to jump off in March. I know you guys are both huge Yankees fans. You guys have a lot to talk about as far as like the team makeup and predictions for the season. So I'm going to pass the ball off to you guys. What do you think, Sean, about the upcoming baseball season?
I am super excited. Baseball is here. Yes, it is one of the sports that people feel is either boring or too long or whatever. That's probably because their team never wins, and that's why. Because the Yankees are the greatest franchise on the planet. So, yeah, I'm super excited about it. I look forward to what we have going on. We've made a lot of moves, some minor, some big, which we're gonna get into it. But yeah, I'm super excited about it. What are your thoughts, Pat?
Yeah, very, very excited. Like you mentioned, a lot of moves, not only for the Yankees, but going on across baseball. The last few years, we've seen a few juggernaut teams take a little bit of a step back, like the Dodgers and the Yankees, but we see that they're trying to get back into that mix, trying to get back into, winning those World Series and being those purely dominant teams that just win every single day, day in and day out. I think there's going to be a lot of competition, both in the AL and the NL. I think the Dodgers and the Yankees will be up there, but, we can't forget about, like, the Braves and the young Orioles and, obviously, the Texas Rangers. So how do you feel about the Yankees lineup? Do you think it's going to be able to stack up with all the rest of these teams, Sean?
Yeah, I think that I think we're going to be stacked. Obviously, this is all, it's funny, I was having this conversation with someone the other day. It is all based off of if we can stay healthy, because that's been our problem. That's been like our Achilles heel. Just everyone staying healthy, which I don't understand sometimes. And I'm not going to go on a rant on it, but I don't understand sometimes what we're doing from a medical standpoint, because it just feels like our players just constantly get hurt, where other teams don't really deal with it as much. That could be just my perception, but that's how it feels. But rotation-wise, yeah, if everyone stays healthy, I think we can make some, like, really be the Bronx Bombers, to be honest with you. And I think it all starts with us acquiring Juan Soto. He's an animal, dude. He's an animal. 275, 421 on-base percentage, 516, 34 home runs last season. That sounds very similar to Aaron Judge. And that's going to be our 1-2 punch. Like, Come on. What are we talking about here? Judge was literally doing it by himself, and now you're going to put somebody that can put out similar output in the back-to-back in the lineup? That's huge protection. So when I think of our lineup, who got leading off? Who do we think that? Who's leading off here? Is it DJ?
I do not have DJ leading off, interestingly enough. So he's a brand new guy, Mr. Alex Verdugo from the Boston Red Sox. Left fielder. He's going to be leading off for the Yanks. He has some experience leading off for the Red Sox. He's not going to hit around 300. He'll probably hit around 260, 270, but his on-base percentage should be around 350. So I really like to see that. And I prefer to have DJ at bat with guys on base, just because he's so good at handling the bat that he could pretty much put the ball wherever he chooses to, or he'll really, really work the count and, hopefully get a lot of good pitches to see in front of, our number 3 hitter, which you can imagine who I have there, right, Sean?
Yeah, I was going to say, I do have, to your point, I do have an asterisk next to number 1, because I wouldn't mind Verdugo leading off. My only concern is going to be when everyone gets healthy. So when the Martian comes back, and that this is part of something that I have later on, but like when the Martian comes back, then you're going to have 4 outfielders, possibly 5 if Giancarlo Stanton's going to get outfield work. You're going to have 5 outfielders. So what do you do then? So you can't obviously there's only 3 outfield positions, right? So then if Verdugo doesn't bat first or doesn't play the field, because if Martian comes back and he has the same output as he did when he put on a show, you're not going to have him on the bench. And Soto and Judge, obviously, they're penciled in. Unless they're getting off days, they're penciled in no matter what. So then at that point, that's why I have DJ first. So just to give you my mindset behind it, I had DJ first with the asterisk of Verdugo. But again, my mindset is once we get to that position, I don't see Verdugo being an everyday outfielder once Martian comes back and has the same output. So that's why I have DJ at 1. I actually have, after DJ, I have Soto batting second. Because obviously I think that I would prefer him to be a protection. I'd prefer him to bat to give Judge more looks at 3. Because I think that protects Judge, because obviously he hasn't had that in this lineup before. And if we can have our best player get that type of protection in the lineup, more so, let's go. Let's do it. And I think Soto is just, from the left side, I think he's just amazing. I think that he's going to be able to give us a high batting percentage, on-base percentage. I think he's going to take some good pitches. And with that short porch that we have, he's going to be putting some out. So that's my top 3. I got DJ, Soto, and then Judge at 3. What do we got at cleanup?
Well, I want Soto at cleanup. So Juan Soto is going to be cleaning up for the Yankees. I want Aaron Judge to see as many fastballs as possible. And with Juan Soto batting behind him, who are you going to face? Do you want to face Judge? Do you want to face Soto? You're screwed either way, honestly. So because of that, just because of, I see Aaron Judge every day. I know what he's capable of. To be honest, I wish I knew more about Soto and what he was capable of. I only see him in the highlights. So I'm very, very excited to see how he's going to change the lineup. But I'm really, really nervous about after those first 4 batters, Sean. Do you go to Stanton? Do you go to Rizzo? I don't know what Stanton's going to do. He can't play. He's a big robot. He got too muscly. He has no flexibility. You were talking about how the Yankees are one of the most hurt teams ever. I think they should stop spending so much time muscle training and work on flexibility. Because Stanton, he can't finish a full year. When he's in the lineup, he's good, but he strikes out a lot. And he seems to hit better when he plays the field. So I just feel like he's creating kind of a problem in the lineup, and I don't know what to do with him.
Well, before I have you go back and tell me, maybe I missed it, who your number 2 is, but to that point, it was funny, I was having this conversation months ago about the rumor about how we've approached, how how the Yankees farm system has approached how we bring up our players, and it's about hit home runs. That's it. Hit home runs, hit for power. That's it. No, that's probably what's been wrong for the past since 2009, and why we haven't won, because all we do is want to hit home runs, and that's probably why Judge has his own coaches, his own hitting coaches. He doesn't use the Yankees hitting coach. So I'm not going to go on that rant, because that's exactly what you're talking about with Giancarlo Stanton. Like, what is our medical staff or training staff focused on in off season? Because we constantly are getting hurt. So for Giancarlo Stanton, yeah, he's always getting hurt, always. But if he's not, if he's healthy and he's on point, he's an animal. He's an animal. And yes, in the lineup, I wouldn't have him cleanup. I'd have Rizzo at cleanup, and then I'd have Stanton at 5, just to have that the righty left righty. Because I don't want want to split it up. So that would be that 4 and 5. Because if they're both healthy, look at that lineup's crazy. It's crazy, but again, healthy. They have to be healthy. So that would be my 4-5. Who did you have at 2?
So I had Verdugo at 1, LeMahieu at 2, Judge at 3, Soto at 4, Stanton at 5. So you'll go back-to-back righties with LeMahieu and Judge. But, I mean, I'll get into this later, but we'll go righty-lefty the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, I have DJ all the way at 7. Ooh. Yeah, because again, I'd go righty lefty, right? So I'd go the Soto at 2, Judge 3, Rizzo 4, Stanton at 5, and then Glaber can't bat any worse than 6th. Like that's my issue. So it's like 8 and 9. Can we can both agree 8 and 9 is going to be well spoken?
Correct.
Right. So we don't even got to talk about those two ladies. We're not going to talk about that. So that's my issue. So then in your case, you're batting Glaber at 7.
Correct. In that lineup, there's so many sticks. There's so many people that are going to drive the ball.
That's the challenge. And that's why, so part of that reason is why I wanted somebody, I was thinking we need somebody in the later part of the lineup that is going to either drive in runs and get both drive in runs and get on base. That's why I'm thinking, like, all right, bat DJ or Verdugo at that 7 spot. Now, if you bat DJ at 1, yeah, then that's why I would bat Verdugo at 7. But then again, I fast forward and think of what's going to happen when the Martian comes back. You're going to bat him 7. You're not going to bat him. If he comes back, it's a struggle for me. I struggle with that. What's going to happen with the 4th? And I said that when we acquired Verdugo. Like, what are we going to do when everyone's healthy? We have 5 outfielders. Obviously, Giancarlo's going to be the team. That's it. Period. That's what Boone's going to do. But then what?
So the only reason I really like having the 5 outfielders is because Aaron Judge at center field is an experiment. He's a great center fielder. He's capable of doing it, but him every day in center field probably shouldn't be happening. If we want him to play his full career, not get hurt, we want him in right field and probably DHing a lot. But because of the way the roster was built, he's stopped playing almost out of position, which he's capable of, but it's kind of a problem. So the Martian is, once he comes back, I don't think it's going to create a problem for us. I think it's going to create a problem for everyone else because there's no breaks in that lineup. You could go 1 through 9. You're going to have a really, really difficult time pitching and getting through without giving up a ton of runs. So at full strength, I think that the Yankees have definitely like a top 3 lineup in baseball, maybe the best. But there's going to be a little bit of juggling going on once the Martian gets back, and maybe Verdugo becomes a trade piece at the deadline if we're all healthy. But if not, we kind of need that depth.
Yeah, to that point, I have the same thoughts in regards to a trade piece, but not Verdugo. I think if Stanton stays healthy, it's hot take here. If Stanton stays healthy, first half of the season, trade him immediately. Try to trick somebody, dupe somebody into taking his contract. try your darndest to do it.
Didn't Jeter trick us into taking that contract?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. Even though I love you, I'll never say anything bad about you ever. Doesn't matter. I love you, Jeter. Yes, some person that ran the Miami Marlins organization tricked us into taking Giancarlo's contract. I don't know his name. I won't speak of it here.
We will not speak. I do have a question once you guys are done talking about the lineup.
What you got?
So, again, baseball novice over here. I have a question for both you guys. You're both avid Yankees fans. What does the team need to do to kind of crack like that top echelon of AL teams? You know, you got teams like, Texas, Houston, Blue Jays, Orioles, all in the postseason last year. What do the Yankees need to do, whether move-wise or just lineup-wise, to kind of compete in the AL to get back to the playoffs?
Let me go first, Ben. Yes, stay healthy. Got to get on base. Stop trying to hit home runs. I was watching an interview with Judge talking about his approach in the off season of how he prepares for the season. He doesn't, and this goes back to the semi rant I was about to go on to about our minor league system, like the coaches in the minor league system. What are we teaching the people that come up in our system? Because it feels like we're teaching the wrong stuff. Because again, if you look at how Aaron Judge approaches his offseason, he uses his own coaches, his own hitting coaches. He doesn't use the Yankees, right? And he was talking about how he had gotten some advice from A-Rod when he was younger in his career. And he had said that, when you're in the offseason, don't try to hit home runs. Take a slow approach, hit singles, doubles. Like, try to find your spots of where you want to be in the field, right? Because at the end of the day, you have the power to hit the home runs, and those will come, right? Those will come in those big moments in the games at the Yankee Stadium, right? And that's it, right? But again, rumors were that in the minor league system, we were teaching players to just hit home runs, hit the ball as hard as you possibly can, no matter what. That's it. But that was it. It's like, what are we teaching? What are we teaching these players? But at the end of the day, I think what happened, Chris, to your question, from my perspective, what needs to happen is we need to try to stay as healthy as possible, and in the playoffs, we just got to get on base. Have to get on base. That's what kills us. What kills us is, in past years, we get to the playoffs, and it's like either we're hitting a home run or nothing, and that can't happen anymore. We have to be a small ball team when it matters. Because if you look at all these other teams that have been winning recently, they get on base, they drive in runs. They don't just focus on trying to hit the home run or hit the big shot. Like, it happens, yeah. You got the Astros that constantly win, and they got your Dong over there dropping bombs, but they're also getting on base. They're also driving in runs, and that's it comes down to that. And then pitching outside of Cole, and I was going to talk about that a little bit later on. Like, outside of Cole, we're weak. We are weak, and when it comes down to the playoff time, we need at least two. We need, as anyone knows, your five starters are not going to be your five starters in the playoffs. You drop it down to three, right? We don't have three stud starters. We have one. We have Cole, the Cole train, and that's it. And then after that, it gets a little scary, to be honest with you, and that's due to injuries. Pat, your thoughts?
Yep. Once again, I share most of those opinions. I believe that the Yankees lineup is built to win right now. But once again, here we're living and dying with the home run. It's big swings, but a lot of strikeouts, and that's really a tough part about watching the Yankees sometimes. They're not cutting down on their swings and trying to play it to a certain part of the field. They're always trying to get the big hit and smash it into the bleachers. And me personally, playing baseball my entire life, that's not what you're supposed to do. Situational baseball calls for different things. And for many years, the Yankees just haven't been doing that. Whether it's in the minor leagues, an analytical driven thing, or, if it's coaching, I just think it has to change. I don't think that's winning baseball. And yeah, absolutely right with the rotation. Garrett Cole, I love Nasty Nestor. He's been pitching well the last few years. He's great for a number 4 starter, but Carlos Rodon, Marcus Stroman, Schmidt, a lot of question marks. Rodon, we saw him last year, he looked terrible. I'm hearing his weight is down and his velocity is up, and that's really, really exciting, but I need to see it first. I need to see that the pitcher that was pitching for the Sox and the Giants, pitching for a 3 ERA, winning 14, 15 games. And then Stroman, he's a huge question mark for me. He's pitched basically 500 baseball for his whole career. He's been pretty effective in the NL, but every time I saw him in the AL when he was in a Blue Jays jersey, he really didn't scare me that much. We kind of crushed him a little bit and knocked him around. So, I think we've seen the brilliance when he's pitched before, the shutouts and complete games. We just need to see that every single night. And if the Yankees fans don't see it every single night, then he's definitely going to hear about it. And then finally, the relief pitching. There's a lot of names that I don't even recognize on this relief pitching staff. Clay Holmes is the closer. He was a huge question mark last year. Ian Hamilton, electric stuff. Huge question mark. So there's just the way the roster is currently constructed. I think we could use probably another 2 to 3 pitchers, 1 starter and 2 relievers, just to kind of jump up to the next echelon, because I think our pitching isn't there yet.
Yeah, I agree, and it sounds like we're getting into we're going on a little tangent here about the strengths and weaknesses of what we feel about this roster. So just before we move into that, let's just go through the lineup. Go through your 1 through 9 and your rotation real quick, and then we'll dive into our rants about strengths and weaknesses of this roster.
Alrighty, so leading off in left field, I have Alex Verdugo. Starting at third base, batting second, I have DJ LeMahieu. In center field, batting third, I have Mr. Aaron Judge. In right field, batting fourth, cleanup, I have Juan Soto. Our DH will be batting fifth, Giancarlo Stanton. At first base, batting sixth, we have Anthony Rizzo. At second base, batting seventh, we have Gleyber Torres. Eighth at catcher, Austin Wells. And then finally with Anthony Volpe batting ninth and playing shortstop. For the rotation, you want to go rotation?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, it's probably the same. Cole, Rodon, Stroman, Cortez, Schmidt.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Sean, tell me.
Yeah, I was going to say, from Wells and Volpe closing out the lineup, we're on the same page, and then rotation, we're exactly on the same page, which rotation-wise, and we'll talk a little bit. I'll go on a little rant on that one, but yeah, my lineup is, as I mentioned to you, I got DJ at 1, Soto 2, Judge 3, Rizzo 4, Stanton 5, Gleyber 6, Verdugo 7. And again, for me, this lineup can change when the Martian comes back. So we'll see what that, as we move forward, we'll see what that looks like. So, what are we thinking? I start with my hot take for our roster and say that I really, really like Austin Wells, and I think he ends up being our starting catcher this season. He's a better hitter than Trevino, obviously, we know that. And I think it's just obvious that he needs to be the guy. And I think it's only a matter of time. And I think Trevino just recently hurt his, was it his shoulder or something like that? He just recently hurt his shoulder and coming back. Like, the dude can't stay healthy. So, as I said last season, let the young guys play. Like, let our young guys get the experience and show their talents. And Austin Wells, I feel, is one of the strengths of us moving forward, allowing him to be the catcher. Yeah, I know. I know. The Coltrane, like he likes pitching to Trevino, but if we want to do that, if Trevino is healthy, have him be that spot starter on that day. But then other than that, Austin Wells should be sitting at catcher moving forward. What are your thoughts, Pat?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I'm looking for a big season at Austin Wells. As much as I really do like Trevino as a player, and he's done a great job, a serviceable job over the last couple of years. We've seen Cole do this a lot. Cole finds his catcher, and he wants him every single day. Higashioka was Garrett Cole's catcher. And as much as it really pained us sometimes for him to be in the lineup with his home run or strikeout game, that's just, it is what it is. So I think we'll continue to see that. Trevino will get his playing time, but it will only help that Trevino will get those few days of playing because also Wells will get some time to rest and to just watch what Trevino does. He's a veteran. Wells still has a lot to learn, so he should continue to just be a student of the game and just follow Trevino around at every opportunity.
Yeah, I really think it just needs to happen. What you saw later in the season when we finally knew that it was a wrap and we weren't going to make it, Boone was like, all right, we're going to let these guys play. So that's why, Wells, I 100% think that he needs to be the starter moving forward, but I know that we're going to let them battle it out in the spring training, but as I mentioned, Trevino already hurt. It's just starting, so probably going to happen. Rotation-wise, I'm scared. I am truly scared. Like, after Cole, like, all four of these guys have injury issues. Rodon, Stroman, Nestor. Like, yeah, when they're healthy, we can see some good things. I think nasty Nestor, like, we know he can be nasty, but if he's not healthy, then it's not helping us, right? Rodon, like you said, like there's rumors that he's come back this season and he's slimmer, he has more velocity, which I've seen some highlights and things of that nature and seen some of the things he's doing, but I need to see it like live because for him to be our second, he's not an ace for me right now. He's not an ace, but guess what? He's penciled in as a second starter behind Cole. I really do like Stroman. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it's a perfect spot for him. Like he doesn't need to be like that guy. He could be like behind the scenes guy in the 3-hole. I think he needed the right spot. Like he wanted to be a Yankee, but it just never really happened and kind of bounced around to different teams. And now I feel like now he's home, and I feel like we want him here. Where in other teams it was a little bit different. And I think he brings a little bit of a swagger / like competitiveness. Like you see like how Cole is, like he's animated, like he's pissed off all the time. Like we need people like that. Like we're not happy with losing. Like we want to be pissed off, like, be angry. And I think Stroman can bring that energy, that type of energy, like pissed off, striking people out and just doing like a backflip off the mound, like screaming loud as hell. Like that's what we need, and I think he can bring that. To the table. So I'm not too happy about our rotation right now. It's very like gray area for me. I really do feel like we still need to make another move, or else we're going to be in trouble. What are your thoughts?
Totally agree. I think I'm nervous about the pitching staff, as I mentioned. That 2-3 hole. Garrett Cole is an amazing pitcher, and he's almost always on. But there's going to be times where maybe he's not, and that number 2 starter has to be the guy to stop him. And I love that Rodon's, I believe, a lefty, so that's a huge deal in the starting rotation. But he has to be effective, otherwise our pitching staff kind of is suspect. I'm extremely nervous about the starting rotation. If one of those players go down, or if Clark Schmidt can't perform up to the level, who comes in? Loaizaga? No, I'm not ready to see Jonathan Loaizaga as the 5th starter or 4th starter. He's too inconsistent. So I just feel like we're missing a few key players, and I think 1 to 2 moves still has to be made.
Yeah, I think Smith being at that 5 spot is good. I think that we're going to need the same output that he did last year, which I think he has the potential to do it. But then, again, to your point, there's a huge drop-off at that point. Like, I know in the past couple seasons we've done, how Booney has attacked the rotation is he's had a 6th guy there. I don't know who that 6th guy is going to be right now. I thought it would have been Domingo Herman, but obviously we know what happened with him. I don't know who that guy is. So again, I'm scared about the rotation. Like, I love our lineup. I love what we're gonna do from the offensive standpoint, but like pitching wise, outside of Cole, I'm scared. I'm scared for my life. I want to cry a little bit, but I know it's early. It's still early. Cashman said we're all in. Cashman said the pencils are not down. He said we could still make some moves. So go out there and make some moves. So it needs to still happen, right? That's it. But bullpen wise, transition into the bullpen, I think the only question I would ask, and this can kind of just encompass everything, is who's going to replace Wandy's output? That's it. That's the question I ask. The question I ask is, from a relief standpoint, I'm fine with Holmes. It seems like he had an up and down season, but he actually, like, stats wise, he actually had a pretty good season. So how do we get the ball from middle relief to him? And that's where I'm scared. I really only like Lasagna, but outside of Lasagna, I'm scared. It's scary because you got Tommy Kahnle is injury prone, and then you got these other guys. You got Scott Efris injury prone, and you got other guys that I don't know who they. I don't know if I got to see something first. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the bullpen.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was gonna say to kind of wrap us up. Let's talk about who's your X factor, who's your favorite off-season move, and then we can kind of segue.
Okay, sounds good. So my X factor for the Yankees is Carlos Rodon. The Yankees will go as far as he allows them to go, I believe. I think we're going to continue to see almost 500 ball from Stroman. I think Nasty Nestor surprises and wins 16, 17 games, and then Clark Schmidt is serviceable. But we need Rodon to win about 18 games with an ERA around 3.5 in order for the Yankees to be the Yankees. They didn't win the division last year. You know who did? The Baltimore Orioles. And the Orioles got better. They had the biggest move of the offseason. They went out and got Corbin Burns, one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Yep.
What's going on, Cashman? You don't answer the phone? You're not doing diligence anymore? You're not working proactively? The Yankees don't need a pitcher like Corbin Burns. Like in the past, Cashman was the guy. He was like the leading man for the Yankees and always on the cutting edge of information, always getting the biggest guys. How does Corbin Burns get traded to a division rival these days? And that really, really upsets me about the direction of the Yankees. But we'll see what happens. Got to stay healthy. But I think that Carlos Rodon will be the X factor for the Yankees, and he will lead them to either success or borderline failure. And my favorite move of the offseason was Corbin Burns being traded to the division rival Orioles. What do you think, Sean?
Oof. Spicy. Tell him what you feel. Tell him how you feel, Pat. Tell him how you really feel. Stick it to him. I hear you. I agree with everything you just said. I think that at the end of the day, I think for me, X factor wise, I wouldn't say it's a particular player. I would say it's the one spot, the leadoff position. Like in our lineup, that's going to be the X factor. We need whoever Booney lands on to be in that leadoff spot. That's what's going to dictate the season for me. because again, you saw it last season. We had multiple guys in that one spot. Like we had DJ bat leadoff, we had Glaber bat leadoff. Like he was trying different things to see what would work. Like that drives this line. That's going to drive this line, and that's why I said, if DJ is healthy, like his on base percentage when healthy is crazy. Like if he could bat leadoff and get on base, like that's love. And I think it's top to bottom too. Like if the bottom of the lineup can get on base, then DJ can drive in runs, and then that's just full circle, right? And I think Verdugo could do the same thing, and that's part of why we went and got him, right? So whoever that leadoff position is, that's the X factor. Like if we could be very strong at the top of our lineup, that just sets the stage for Soto and Judge and Rizzo and Stan, all these bats to just come in and just drive in runs. That's going to be, for me, that's going to be the X factor. I think my favorite offseason moves, I would say plural, would be Verdugo and Stroman. I think Verdugo, just output-wise, you had mentioned it earlier, just on-base percentage is there, his batting average is there. Last season was a little lower than what his career average looked like, but obviously Boston Red Sox were not really good last season, so that didn't help him. But I'm really, again, I know you're not, it seems like you're not a big fan of Stroman, but I think that Stroman coming into this lineup, replacing Severino, which we know how, Severino could never stay healthy, and I don't know what happened to him last season. He just forgot how to be a pitcher. But I think Stroman can come in, replacing that output and raising the bar from that perspective. I think he's going to come in and be a solid number 3 for us. So I really love the move, and I think the contract was really team friendly. So I like it. So that's my thoughts. Chris, I know you haven't been participating.
I've been out thinking about what I'm gonna do after pod today, but yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting for sure. I mean, maybe through actually being on this podcast, I'll learn more about baseball. I don't know. I kind of watched a lot of Phillies games last year. That was seemingly pretty good. I don't know.
Get out.
Anyhow.
Get out.
Transition. Pat, we're going to best bets. What do you got for us this week?
Okay, so the slate is a little thin just because of All-Star Weekend, but there is some hockey games going on today. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but the NHL is doing a stadium series where they have 2 NHL teams play in an outdoor setting at one of the local arenas. So today, the New York Rangers will be facing off against the New York Islanders at MetLife Stadium.
Nice.
This game is considered an Islanders home game, but I am all over the Rangers. The New York Rangers have been playing great since the All-Star break. They've won 6 in a row. They haven't been giving up nearly as many goals as they had previously before the All-Star break. One thing I'm worried about, Blake Wheeler just had a massive injury. He's probably out for the rest of the year. So the Rangers might have a little bit of a hole in their lineup, but it's not enough to stop them. They're going to stomp on the Islanders. I'm expecting this game to be 3-1 because Igor Shesterkin is one of the best goalies in the NHL. And even though the Islanders have a great goalie in Ilya Sorokin, Shesterkin's just the man. He's the best. He's the best goalie in New York. He's going to prove it today. I'm taking the Rangers at minus 148 on DraftKings, the money line. I'm going to make a lot of money today.
Nice.
Let's make money.
Let's make some money. Cool. And now, for our new favorite segment, because obviously we've renamed it, is it Feast or is it Fumble? Sean, what do you got for us this week?
All right, so we're gonna pivot a little bit, just based on some feedback from fans. We're gonna talk some, current events, right? We're gonna dive in and we're gonna do some Feast or Fumble. Are you with it? Or are you not with it? Okay. So feast or fumble? All right. First question is, with everything that happened this NFL season, the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, is Taylor Swift good for sports? Feast or fumble? Chris, we'll start with you.
I am feasting on Taylor Swift, believe it or not. It was a major distraction to football, but apparently not so much for Chiefs fans because they ended up winning the whole thing. I think this was like catching lightning in a bottle. I think the fact that the NFL now has a whole demographic of fans that probably never watched football up until Taylor Swift being shown on screen so many times. And you see like the Taylor effect. Travis Kelce's jersey became number one purchased overall this season. His podcast with his brother received like over 1 million subscribers just on the fact that Taylor was dating Travis. The NFL had like much more, branding opportunities to like market to a whole new demographic of fans. So like the proof is in the pudding. Like she, with her celebrity, has definitely put a new set of eyeballs on the game, and I think it definitely moves the needle for sure. Pat, what do you think?
Taylor Swift is not good for football. She is great for football. She is great for all sports. Honestly, Chris just touched on all the major points. It's bringing in new fans. New fans that, for whatever one reason or another, don't like football that much, are now watching it just because Taylor Swift is there. That's insane to me as a sports lover, and it drives me a little nutty because sports are the best. But, she's making, the NFL and the Chiefs so much money in revenue. It's insane. It's only good for the sport. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. I'm feasting on it. We threw this number out a while ago, but brand value-wise, Taylor Swift made Kansas City and the NFL over $300 million in marketing, brand value, right? So, I think it's worked out for Kansas City. They ended up winning the Super Bowl, and it's just a coincidence that it happened. I know that some folks will say it was scripted. It's like the NFL wanted Kansas City to win. Yes, the NFL is scripted, but in this case, this is just business sense. It just makes sense to increase your demographic of fans. It increases your value, and things of that nature. And Taylor Swift just moves the needle because of the Swifties. So, yeah, I'm feasting on it. On similar topic, in the sense of Kansas City, there was a shooting in the Kansas City parade during their celebration. Feast and famine, feast and fumble. Like, what are our thoughts on it? Like, how are we feeling about it? Pat, I'll start with you.
This is a total fumble. I don't know if it's the security in Kansas City, if it's the state of American society, if it's the gun laws, if it's, the teenagers being out of control. It's just there's so many things going wrong with this situation. And like for it to be such a celebration and such a joyous time and all these people surrounding each other and trying to, enjoy themselves, and for a couple, bad eggs to come in there and just ruin everyone's good time, and then have it be such a negative thing rather than having it be this giant celebration of Kansas City getting to enjoy themselves. It really, really stinks. I hope this isn't the start of, them not doing championship parades, and that's what I'm scared for. It's been many, many years since New York has had one. I don't want to miss out on my opportunity because now I'm fearful for, let's say, my life. I don't know, Chris. I'm really, really nervous about the state of it. Let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's sad that this is like the state of the nation, so to speak. It's like I remember growing up in a time where shootings were kind of like rare, to where it was like recent years it seems like every other month there's like another like some type of shooting going on. It's definitely a fumble on Kansas City's part and the league's part. It's like here we are celebrating the world champions of the National Football League, and you have to have a tragic event like this. I believe like 22 people were shot, and 11 of them were children. So it's like, what are we doing here? Like we can't even like celebrate teams anymore. So I think, from a macro level, it's definitely a societal issue. But of course, we're not going to put regulations on guns, because why would we do that? Makes too much sense, right? But yeah, maybe for future, parades for teams winning championships, maybe doing them in the stadium. There's a lot less open air. There's a lot more security that you can like enforce in those situations. So there's less of a chance that something like this will happen again. But yeah, definitely a fumble on this one.
Yeah, I think it's another one that we all agree on. I think it's a topic that, society-wise, it's just things that we continue to have to deal with as we move forward in life. Chris, you make a lot of good points about is it gun regulation? Is it the approach we take on these types of events? Is it just us having to evolve into doing things differently than we did in the past? And Pat, to your point, I was just having this conversation the other day. I said, if the Yankees win the World Series, I'm going to the parade. Like, I don't care what the scenario is. I'm going to the parade. But now I also have to, in the back of my mind, I have to be like, all right, I'm going to the parade, but now I have to plan to make sure that I'm safe. Where in the past, in the 90s, we'd go to the parade. We go to the parade and just go for a good time. We're celebrating something that's amazing, right? But now it's like in the back of your mind, you got to worry about if you're gonna make it back home. And I think that's a concerning piece, right? So yeah, again, I don't know what it is. Is it's gun regulation, gun laws? Like me personally, like I at some point in time want to get a gun and have it in my house, but I want to do it the right way. So how do we get to a space where it is okay to have a gun, but you shouldn't have freaking AR-15s and stuff? Like, this is not Call of Duty. What are we talking about here? And I don't want to hear the whole like America is trying to take guns out of our hands so that we can't protect ourselves. No, we're doing that so we can protect other people that don't have guns. So yeah, like we have to figure something out. And to be honest with you, if we're speaking candidly, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So, and it's going to be because of people's egos and faults on this. So, yeah, huge fumble. I think security-wise, like you said, Pat, we just messed up something somewhere. But to Chris's point, like maybe it is something where now you do it in a more controlled area, like in the stadium or something like that. Maybe that's what it turns out to.
Mm-hmm. Sean, what was that number that Taylor Swift made the NFL and the Chiefs?
300. The exact number was 331.5
roundabout. So you take 100 and you get better security in Kansas City for this parade. Give me a break, guys.
Yeah, you make a good point. I think at the end of the day, it's like, make all this money. What are we using this money for? Mm-hmm. So, anywho, last topic for Feast and Fumble. Is Tiger Woods done? Who wants to go first?
I'll give my little take on this one. Tiger for me has been best golfer alive since he basically busted onto the scene as a teenager. But I think the old adage is Father Time is undefeated. So Tiger's had a lot of surgeries, a lot of off the course issues, personal issues. So I mean, and now he just seemingly can't just like stay healthy enough to like be out there and compete. So I think it is actually time to say, hey, golf has to exist without Tiger in it to like kind of progress and move forward. But definitely sad to see. Pat, what do you think?
So I believe that the idea that Tiger Woods is done is a fumble. I don't think he's done at all. He just ended his partnership with Nike after how many years, and he just came out with this new brand called Sunday Red, And even though Tiger, obviously his clothes will sell themselves, I think he feels like he has to continue to be out there and be the face of that new brand that he's developing, I think, with TaylorMade. But Chris, like you said, Father Time undefeated. His body is completely breaking down, whether it's his knee, his back, or I think this tournament, I think it's the flu. He's missed three. He's had to withdraw early 3 of his last 6 tournaments. In this tournament, it was the flu. Whether it was a PR stunt to get out of there because he was playing so bad, or whatever it may be. Just kidding. Obviously, Tiger, you're the best. No, it's just it's kind of sad to see a little bit him going out there and struggling and gimping around. I feel like he should hang it up, but I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah, man, Tiger was. Listen, this is another topic where, similar to what you were saying about baseball, Chris. Like, I don't know too much about it, but one thing I do know is that Tiger Woods was the greatest golfer to ever touch a club or hit a golf ball. I don't think he's done. I think at the end of the day, it feels like he's not 100% healthy. Like, I feel like there's times and moments where it's just like he's just trying to push it and just push through. I think he needs to just take some time off and get healthy. I don't know what it is. Like he could. I guarantee you, he could take off like an entire year. Like just you have enough money, Tiger. Come on, you have enough money. It's okay. Take a year off, get 100% healthy, and then come back and be dominant. Like I feel like he could come back healthy and be a dominant golfer today, even though he's older than most golfers, right? But again, skill-wise, he is the greatest golfer ever. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, if he could come back, be healthy, he would dominate. But again, it just feels like he's just going through the motions and playing in these tournaments. And then if he can't play because he's not healthy, so he backs out. And it's like, all right, let's focus on someone else. So I don't think Tiger is done. I just think that he needs to get right and then do what he needs to do and dominate.
Here's a little side question. Do we think Tiger actually like feels pressure to be like the face of golf, because he's been like the most popular golfer for I don't know how many years now? Like if Tiger were to take a step back for, like you said, for like a year, maybe more, to like kind of get his body right, like who becomes like that face? Like, I know there's a couple of younger guys. Rory McIlroy is one that I know off the top of my head, but like who else could possibly take up that mantle?
I would defer to Pat on that.
We're deferring to Pat on this.
Chris, you're right. That's an interesting point of view, because I do believe that Tiger has always felt this kind of immense pressure to be the face of golf and to continue to be the best ever, because it's pretty much a no-doubter that he is. But aside from that, golf is in a pretty decent position with superstars. It took a pretty big whack recently with Jon Rahm going from the PGA Tour to Live Golf. And that's obviously a huge conversation for a different day, because that's another debate whether you're with the Live Golf side or the PGA Tour side. But just as far as golf as a popularity point of view, I think they do have the superstars to carry them through the next year or so if Tiger was trying to really get his body right. And also, the anticipation of Tiger leaving for a year and then coming back and maybe circling a date on the calendar would be massive, and I think that would probably only help his brand. Sean, what do you think?
I do not watch golf enough. I need to work on my own little golf game. But no, I agree with everything that Patrick just said.
Fair.
Stamp on it. Approved.
Good answer.
Very good answer. So I think that's it. We got through all the topics. Sounds like we did it. We get a little pat on the back today. You guys got anything else?
No, good. No, like I said, baseball season is here, baby.
Baseball season is here.
Yeah,
awesome.
Hit it every episode now.
Oh yeah, I have to look forward to taking little 15-minute breaks in between the pod while you guys talk baseball. That's It's great for me. Great for me.
You need to build your knowledge. Build up.
Build my knowledge. Yeah, I feel like you're gonna give me crap though if it's not Yankees related baseball talk. So we'll.
No.
Not at all. I mean, you guys have to listen to me talk about the Giants. They're barely relevant.
No, that's true. That's true. So, all right, this is another show wrapped up in the books. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Helps the algorithms push us up to the top. For everybody, I'm the real Chris Mack. This is Feast or Fumble, and we'll catch you on the next one.